What if I told you that everything you believe about strength is wrong? That the strongest people are not always the ones who stand tall, but the ones who learn how to breathe when life knocks the air out of their lungs. 5 seconds. That was all it took. 5 seconds between normal and irreversible. One moment the world made sense, the next it didn't. The sound of metal crashing, glass exploding, time freezing in place, and in that suspended moment between life and death, her future quietly slipped away without asking permission. She didn't wake up that day preparing for tragedy. She had plans, expectations, ordinary worries that now seem almost innocent. She never imagined that the life she knew was about to end, not because she would stop breathing, but because she would stop moving the way she once did. When she opened her eyes, reality felt distant and cruel. White lights above her, machines beside her, pain everywhere. But the most painful moment came later, wrapped in calm voices and careful words. You may never walk again. No drama, no warning, just truth landing like a final verdict. In that instant, the world collapsed inward. Dreams that once felt close suddenly felt unreachable. The future became a question mark, and the body she had trusted her entire life betrayed her. She wanted to scream, but even hope felt too tired to respond. Life split into two parts without asking her opinion. Before the wheelchair, and after it. At first, denial felt safer than acceptance. She convinced herself this was temporary, that strength and faith would undo the damage. Days passed, then weeks, then months. The wheelchair remained. And with it came a different kind of pain, one that no medicine could touch. The pain of watching others walk past her without noticing. The pain of needing help for simple things. The pain of feeling smaller in a world built for people who stand. She lost more than movement. She lost independence, privacy, and confidence. She lost the comfort of being unnoticed. She lost the version of herself she recognized in the mirror. People tried to help, but sometimes their words hurt more than silence. Be grateful you're alive. Others have it worse. Everything happens for a reason. But pain does not disappear just because someone explains it. Some pain demands to be felt before it can be healed. Nights were the hardest. When the noise faded and reality became loud. When thoughts refused to rest. When the same question returned again and again. Why me? Why this body? Why this life? Strength felt overrated. Positivity felt exhausting. There were moments when survival felt like a responsibility she never agreed to carry. And yet something small and stubborn remained alive inside her. Hope didn't arrive as a miracle. It didn't fix anything. It didn't erase the wheelchair or silence the pain. It whispered instead. It reminded her that she was still here, that her heart still worked, that her mind still dreamed, even if quietly. Slowly, painfully, she understood a truth that would change everything. She didn't lose her life. She lost the way she used to live it. And that meant a new way still existed. She began to redefine strength. Strength was no longer about standing, it was about enduring, about waking up on days when giving up felt logical, about choosing meaning when bitterness felt justified. The wheelchair took her legs, but it did not take her voice, her mind, or her ability to feel deeply. And those things mattered more than she ever realized. She started from the beginning, learning patience when frustration felt easier, learning acceptance without surrender, learning how to exist in a body that no longer followed her commands. The world continued to stare, to whisper, to assume. Many people saw only the chair and never looked higher, but she decided to see herself differently. She realized that if she could not walk across stages, she could speak on them. If she could not chase dreams, she could pull them closer. Pain became her language. Silence became her power. Every word she spoke carried weight because it was earned. Every smile carried defiance because it was chosen. She spoke not as someone who had conquered pain, but as someone who lived inside it and still chose life. She spoke about broken dreams and rebuilt purpose, about faith that bends but doesn't break, about learning to love life again, not because it is easy, but because it is still possible. And people listened. They listened because she didn't pretend to be fearless. She didn't hide her scars. She stood in her truth, seated in her reality, and invited others to face theirs. Her voice traveled from small rooms to large halls, from local spaces to global platforms. The wheelchair never disappeared, but the meaning grew larger than the pain. She reached the world not by walking through it, but by touching hearts across it. Borders didn't matter. Language didn't matter. Pain is universal, and so is hope. She proved something the world often forgets. A body can break, but purpose does not. Life can pause, but impact does not end. Limitations are often placed by society, not destiny. Value is not measured by physical ability, and strength has nothing to do with muscles. Today she stands taller than many who walk freely, not on her feet, but on her courage. She did not wait for life to become fair. She made life meaningful. She stopped asking why this happened to her, and started asking what she could do with what happened to her. And if you are listening right now, feeling trapped, broken, delayed, or forgotten, remember this. You do not need to stand to rise. You do not need perfection to matter. And you do not need permission to begin again. Because sometimes the journey from a wheelchair to the world stage is not about movement, it is about courage, and your story is still being written,